Hi, my name's Evan. Happy Dia de los Madres. What does the future hold? Tell me. Answer this question right now. What is going to happen in the future? I need you to tell me because I don't know, and no one knows, except for you, apparently. But there's something that's been boiling and brewing, toiling and troubling inside my cauldron of a brain in my noggin. Or not in my noggin. That would be my noggin, is what that would be called. Is how, like, we never get the future right. We never nail that shit, ever. like, like, think about it. And a good example of this is the Alien movies, the original Alien movies with the xenomorph, the alien with the acid blood and the big old long brain head. Um, why do we have the original Macintosh computer installed in our super spaceships that can go through outer space at like light speed? Did we invent the computer and then just move on to spaceships after that? Like, no, that's just not what happened. We got flat screens and shit now, bro. We got like see-through TVs, got that Pear phone on iCarly. Shit's crazy. So it's like it's interesting to think about how throughout history we always try to theorize what it's going to look like when the current history becomes the later history, and we never nail it. A good example of like a modern day instance of this is Black Mirror. I think Black Mirror is a really good instance of like right now our reality is horrifying. Everything around us is horrifying and owned by companies and consumerism, and we're going to be melted into goop and turned into something someone can box and sell. No, I don't want to do that. But since that's our current fear and our current existence, it revolves around it, of course our stories of what the future is going to look like are going to revolve around that too. And there's no better example of how the like essentially the absolute antithesis of this than a story that I read recently. Not read. Okay, full transparency. A YouTuber read it for me. I watched a video essay, but a story called "The Last Question" by Isaac Asimov. This is one of the coolest pieces of fictional media that I've ever put in my pie hole, and that's kind of crazy because you can't even eat stories. That's not how you consume them. But I somehow did that anyway. The bit's going too long. So the last question, and I'm not going to spoil the main thing of it. If you want to look at it, look it up. Go ahead. Google's free. But essentially, the part that I like, if I were to take just the message that I'm intending to show from this, it's a story about an AI, and this AI evolves throughout history. The story takes place over the span of like a few trillion years, an absolutely unfathomable amount of time. I'm currently gathering people who can count past the number of 47. I'm planning something big, but like an unfathomable amount of time. And over this time, the AI is constantly advancing itself because at first we built it and it was like a big black box. It was like ChatGPT. You ask it questions, it tells you what's up, except instead of telling you to drink hot sauce with your toothpaste, it tells you how to do things like harness the power of the sun. Although this story was written during the baby boomer era, so we didn't even know what a Dyson sphere was, which if you don't know what a Dyson sphere is, it's when you take a big metal ball and you eat the sun like Pac-Man and turn that shit into a giant solar panel and infinite energy bang until a few trillion years and the sun goes gaboomba. But they just say we harness the power of the sun, and as the future pans out, because the story jumps like 100,000 years in the future, then a few million years in the future, a few billion years in the future, and I literally, this story was so interesting to me that I could bar for bar tell you basically every single thing that happened then. But that's not what we're making this video today. If you want me to do a whole video breaking it down, let me know in the comments down below. All four of you that watch this, but essentially, uh, I find it very interesting that over the expanse of this time, not a single time do we mention war. We don't mention famine. They mention population issues. They mention not there being too many people, but we don't mention a housing crisis. There's too many people. However, the AI doesn't turn against us and try and murder us. It's very interesting that, like, since the story was written during the baby boomer era, where AI was an inconceivable concept at this time, war, we just finished that shit. So it was a war to end all wars. So there's never going to be a war again until there was a war again. So, like, people were all so positive. Ew, why are you doing that? Positive? Don't you know that things are going to get worse? No, because things are bad now. And then that means that if history is indeed a flat disk, it's going to get just a little worse, and then it'll get really good. Hopefully within my lifetime. I'd like to enjoy life a little bit before I have to go. Anyway, I find it just so interesting that we suck at telling history. No, shit. Sorry, take that. Past few words, can we reverse that? Pretend you didn't hear it. We suck at telling the future. We suck at predicting what's going to happen. Because who knows? Maybe we won't be installing iPhones in our head that then turn us into monsters and then murder us and cook our brain from the inside out. Maybe, just maybe, some inconceivable new third, more devious thing happens. There wasn't even a second thing. We'll pretend there's a third now because I wanted to make the joke. But it's like, essentially, this thought experiment that I'm forwarding to you guys right now. Wait, like, is what do you guys think is gonna happen? I'm sitting crisscross applesauce. I was gonna kick my feet in the air and be like, "Ooh, what do you think gonna happen?" What do you guys think the future holds for us? Cures to disease? No, because pharmaceutical companies are evil inherently. But then again, we have people like Luigi. I can't say his name correctly, or YouTube will bomb me from orbit. But which is kind of actually horrifying to think about. But still, the fact that like we're essentially at the beginning of our own, and this is my little brain blast. I'll throw my hat into the ring for a moment before you guys give yours in the comments. But or while you write it, we just had our first instance of essentially the step into a revolution. You know, the French did it. They guillotined those motherfuckers. And then we have one guy who did one thing and then got in trouble for it. And now people are starting to realize that there are people in power who like their power and don't like us. And so it's like, where will we go? Where are things going to go from there? Now, I'm no extremist. In fact, I am very cozy in my own bed and don't want to harm people. But I would not be shocked if this continues. I would not be shocked if people for the first time in decades realize that this isn't a race war thing. This shit's about class war. And so who knows? Who knows? Maybe things will get better. Maybe in like 50 years, we'll be done the class war, the great class war, where all of the 10 people who own all the money in the world get freaking incinerated with the unmatched power of the sun. Maybe lightning will just like conveniently strike all of them at the same time. That's kind of weird. Like, it wasn't even raining. That's weird. But let's get past the extremist conversation that I just fell into for some reason. Who knows? Maybe we'll find cures to diseases and things will be good after a little bit. I think that I'm see the thing is I'm a positive optimist. I'm an optimist. I like thinking that things will get better, but I also recognize that things are, of course, at a bad spot right now and increasingly so getting worse. So will we see things get worse? Probably. But will things be bad forever? No. Unless we nuke all of ourselves off the face of the earth. I actually saw there's a war between, I can't even say the names of the countries. I know YouTube hates mentioning any conflict ever because there's no such thing as conflict on YouTube. India and Pakistan, they have a war going on right now, and I think Pakistan said that if India raises arms against them, they will make it so no person on this planet will be able to live on it. Oh. Okay, maybe pipe down, chill out. Like, what the fuck me for? What would I do? Like, literally, so like, yes, there is the potential that we wipe ourselves out, but there's always been that potential for the past 80 years. When did we make the nuke? Right at the end of World War II, so like 45. So yeah, around 80 years. So yeah, we've had the ability to light switch ourselves off for 80 years, and look, we're still here. Isn't that nice? So maybe things will go well. Let's hope things go well. Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. I found this interesting, something to yap about, and I hope you enjoyed. There was no substance to this video. I apologize. I've had a rough day. I am tired, and if you saw my video from yesterday, I had a lot of alcohol and was in pain today. But I hope you had a good time with your mothers, and I had a good time with mine, and I also had a nice time at work, and also I'm ending this video. So thank you. My name is Evan. This robe is really cozy, and